Howdy, fellow vine trippers. I wanted to take just a moment before the show starts to let you know about a great website called Texas Wine Lover. They can be found at txwinelover.com. And they have a comprehensive website that can become your go-to site for information on Texas wines, winemakers, and the wineries that can be found in this state. They even have a phone app that you can download, and that will help you plan your route to create your own wine trip. So make sure and check them out at txwinelover.com. Welcome to Texas Under Vine, an exploratory podcast to scout out the best that Texas wine country has to offer. I'm your wine guide, Scott, and I'm here to lead you on an auditory expedition to the vineyards and wineries across the great Lone Star State. Each episode will cover a different vineyard, winery, or wine-related business operating in Texas. You'll hear interviews, descriptions, and details about each location that will excite you to visit and experience them for yourself. Ready to plan a wine tour? Use these episodes to choose the most interesting spots for you and your friends to check out. Most of all, enjoy hearing about the rapidly growing wine industry in the state and what makes our wines and wineries the best. Howdy, fellow vine tripper. Welcome to episode 14 for Texas Under Vine. This episode, I visit a vineyard and winery in the Hill Country called Solaro Estate Vineyard and Winery. This family-owned and run winery has been in operation since the early 2000s, and they're keeping the tradition of fine wine in Texas going strong. So this particular winery was started by Robert and Barbara, but their family history goes way back to winemaking in Italy, actually. The farm has been in the family since around 1909. They do have an estate vineyard on site, and they grow much of their grapes on about 15 acres or so of vines. They were voted as the Texas Hill Country Winery of the Year for 6 straight years. They've also recently been named Texas Tempranillo Winery of the Year, so they got a few awards following them around. They host lots of fun member events and dinners at the winery throughout the year with live music and wine pairings with the food. It's really cool because they are a part of a dark sky community. So they'll even feature telescopes at some of these events to see the stars at some of those evening member dinners. They mostly serve dry wines, but they also have some really tasty sparkling wines that they like to serve as well. They do have a cattle operation on site as well as part of what they do there on their farm and their ranch, in addition to the vineyard. They do strive to maintain good sustainability practices in everything they do in their farming. This location is in the Hill Country. It's near the small town of Dripping Springs. And when I went to visit, I actually got a chance to sit down and speak to their vineyard manager, Erica Fritz, who's actually Robert and Barbara's daughter as well. Let's hear a little bit from her about this great destination. All right, well, I'm here at Solaro Estate with Erica Fritz, one of the owners and the vineyard manager here. So tell me a little bit about yourself first. What got you into the wine industry?
Our family has been making wine in Italy for many, many years and has been here in Texas since the mid-1800s and on our property for a long, long time. And so since I'm in the industry with my family and I've sort of taken the reins on that and I really enjoy it and it's a great industry to be in. So I've sort of just grown up in it and that's what introduced me to it.
Yeah. So did you spend, when you were a kid, did you spend a lot of time at the winery and...
Oh, yeah. My first, quote unquote, business card had my name on it. And then it had cellar rat underneath it. So I was just hanging out in the winery all the time, helping out, cleaning barrels, all that good stuff.
So you've really grown up with this as being a whole family and a whole life experience up to this point. So tell me a little bit about this location's history. So how did it get started?
So this is a historical Texas estate that dates from 1909. So our family has been on this property since 1909. We named it Solaro. Affectionately, it means of the sun, and it's also the name of the town in Italy where our family is originally from. So a nice ode to that. It's a little town in the foothills of the Alps in northern Italy. And so the estate was originally a ranching and farming estate, all self-contained and a sustainable operation. So it had, a blacksmith shop, a mule-driven sugarcane mill, a sawmill, all that good stuff, all on one piece of property, all contiguous. And then after the reacquisition of the property, because of the fossil-rich and nice mineral-rich soil and terroir that we have here, and because of our eastern exposure, we decided to plant vines here and sort of bring our family's Italian heritage here to kind of mesh with our Texas roots as well.
Awesome. So as you've already talked a little bit about it, but is there a reason that y'all picked this particular area, this particular land, or, you talked about the story behind the name Solaro, but is there a reason why did you pick it because of the soil or because of those things?
So the property itself has been in our family, but the blocks where we have our vineyard, we picked specifically because of their exposure to the sun and the soil composition underneath. Block 1 used to be an orchard, and so it has a really nice soil in block 1, and then so that's where we grow our Barbera and our Malbec because of that. And then in blocks 2 and 3 is where we grow a lot of our Montepulciano because it has a little bit more of that minerality, a little bit more limestone soil. So because of that, that's where we decided to put those vines. So it all depends on the different areas, and we're always expanding our vineyards here as well. So even as we talk now, we're thinking about different places to put different varietals.
How big is the property?
What we have planted at the moment is 15 acres.
15 acres. Okay, cool. So where all do you source your grapes? Just here on the estate, or do you take any from High Plains or other places?
Yeah, so we're really proud to be a true estate winery. So we source primarily from our estate here, all of our reds. But then we also grow our whites, some of them up in the High Plains, some of our Viognier, for example, because it really likes those cooler nights, a little bit more of that temperature swing. So, they grow really well up there, so we source those varietals from there.
Okay. And then do you process everything here locally on site on the estate?
We do up at the winery on the hill. We produce our wine. So we are like a self-contained winery estate. So from vine to glass, everything is done here at Solaro. So we're, really proud to be named Texas Hill Country Winery of the Year for now the 6th year in a row, and having it all be here on our property.
Yeah, very nice, self-contained. So what are your favorite wines that you make personally?
That's always such a hard question to answer. But it really depends on the food that I'm having with the wine, or, the environment, like the event or the weather, things like that. So in the summertime, probably our Viognier. Of course, it's so nice and crisp, very clean. But right now, I think probably it's a toss-up between our Montepulciano and our Cheval 5. They're my two favorites at the moment.
Yeah.
But we also make our Tempranillo, which when it's really, really cold out, a good glass of that Tempranillo is to die for. We actually just got named Texas Tempranillo Winery of the Year from our Tempranillo that we grow here, and it's delicious.
What do you see as your favorite wines that customers just keep going on and on about? What are the ones that are hard to keep in stock because they're constantly running out? They're flying off the shelves.
So as a primarily a member winery, we release all of our wines to our membership first. And so it's honestly hard to have a lot of them in the tasting room, a lot of our varietals in the tasting room, because they buy all the wines that they know that they're going to like, even as soon as they're released. So those are our Montepulciano, our Tempranillo, our Cheval 5, which we only make every so often. So we don't make our Cheval 5 every year. So that for sure is one of the wines that our wine club waits for. We're releasing a Cheval 5 this year and everybody's ready to go. They want that Cheval 5.
Is that a member exclusive wine, or is that something that anyone can take?
Everything is member exclusive when it's released for the first 2 months. And then afterwards, what we have left is in our tasting room, unless we, sell so much of it that we don't have, very much left. And then it's a member exclusive once we only have about 20 or less cases. Our Tempranillo tends to be that very quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah. We usually only have our Tempranillo in the tasting room for a couple months before it's gone.
Well, what type of events or amenities or things do you have besides just coming in to drink a glass of wine here that people might want to come check out?
Yeah. So we do primarily member events. So that's one of the great things about being a member here is we do our member dinners. So every other month on the second Friday of the month, we do a member dinner. So it's a coursed pairing meal that we make here, and it's a beautiful night, live music, wine pairings. We present each of the wines with the food, and it's a great time. We cap it at 30 guests, so we keep it nice and intimate. We also have larger events throughout the year. One of our fan favorites that everybody waits for, and we usually sell out super fast, is our wine and chef showcase. That's in November. So I think this year it's the second weekend in November. And we have Chef Tyson come from Austin, and he makes cabrito and suckling pig and brisket all over an open flame, slow roasted throughout the whole day here at the winery. And then at the end of the night, we, enjoy it with wine. We have cigar rollers and live music. We have a couple different bands that come out and enjoy the stars. We have telescopes for everybody to see because, the sky is different in November than it is for the majority of the year. So we get to see things we don't always get to see up there.
So we've talked a little bit about, you mentioned member several times. Tell me about your wine club. So what are the details on your wine club? How can somebody become a member? Or what are some of those benefits they get?
Yeah, so we have a certain number of members that we can support since we do make all of our wines here. So, the yield of the vineyard sort of dictates how big our wine club can be. We do have a couple spots available, but our wine club, you can join here in the tasting room, and then also online if you so wish. But it's always nice to come and experience the winery and do a tasting and, really sort of become part of Solaro and meet everybody, and then become part of our Solaro wine family, sort of say. We have a couple different levels of our wine club, which all of the different perks and availability of wines and our travel with our family to our family's wineries in Italy. All of that good stuff is laid out on our website. Discounts and member bottles and events, all that good stuff.
Is it based on the number of bottles that they get at certain times during the year? How does that whole process work?
Yeah, so we do 3 releases a year.
Okay.
So we skip summer release because it's hot. And we do have members from all over the United States. So we do ship a lot of wines outside of Texas. So because of that, we do a spring, a fall, and a winter release. We select the wines, but then wines can be added to it. Or if you're at our cellar collectors level, then you can pick whichever wines you would like to be in the allocation, and sort of add to things. We like to put new wines or wines that have won awards or cellared wines that we haven't been able to release in a while into our allocations. Our last allocation, so this past December, we put our 2009 Merlot in our allocation. It was delicious. So we definitely have some wines that have a good ageability. So we're able to put some of our older cellared wines into our releases for our club.
So do you have like a listener wants to come in to do a tasting? We've talked a little bit about reds. You mentioned some whites. Do you do semi-sweets as well? Do you have the whole gamut, or what do you kind of typically focus on a tasting?
Yeah, so we have all of our wines we make dry, except for our 2 sparklings, which are a brut. So they're 0.5% residual sugar. So a little bit off dry, which makes them really nice and crisp, but smooth, kind of dangerously easy to drink. So we have a set tasting when you come in. We have a couple different options. So we have our regular tasting, then we also have our sommelier-led tasting, which is a little bit longer, a little bit more in-depth, with pairings and more wines on that tasting as well. And then we also, in certain times of the year, we do tours of the vineyards and the winery as well, usually in the spring, early summertime before it gets too hot and when everything's nice and green. That sweet spot in the middle of the year. So we have a couple different options. Things are always changing. So if we have events that are available, we'll sell tickets online. If we have different tastings that we have available because we have a wine that we want to showcase for that month, and we'll put that on our social medias and on our website as well. So things are always changing, and there's always fun things to do. So it's not always the same every time. But we do focus on red varietals because that's what we grow here on the estate. So our tasting is primarily red varietals, but we do also showcase some of our whites and our sparklings as well.
Okay. And then what are the fee differences between the regular tasting or the sommelier-led tasting that you mentioned?
It is 20 for the regular tasting, which you can come in and have a little bit larger grapes, and then our sommelier tasting is 35. And depending on what's available, things will change on our website, but our sommelier-led tasting is limited to 6 people.
Is that by reservation only? And do they do that on your website?
Yeah. If you feel more comfortable doing a reservation over the phone, we can do that too. So you don't have to do it online. But we do have the option of doing it online.
But the reservations are required, which is the key point. It's just, yes.
And if you have a group larger than 6, then we highly recommend making a reservation for the regular tasting as well.
What are your standard operating hours for the tasting room itself for someone to come out?
We're seasonal. So in the summertime, our hours are extended a little bit longer since we're a dark sky community here. It gets dark pretty early in the wintertime, so we close at 5, 6. But then in the summertime, we stay open a little bit later because we have the beautiful sky. So right now, we're still in our winter hours, so we open at 11. And then when we close at 5 on Thursday, Sunday, and Monday, and then on Friday and Saturday, we close at 6.
Perfect. And then family friendly, what if somebody wanted to come, but they wanted to bring their stroller, bring their kids and all that? Is that allowed, or is it adults only?
We're open to families. We don't have like a family area, so we don't have like a jumbo gym or place to, kind of for children. We are primarily a, 21 up sort of environment. But we definitely have members that will bring, their children, and, they'll sit there and, enjoy talking about the wines. They're very interested in it, which is kind of cool. They'll, be like, oh, it smells like X, Y, and Z. Yeah. You can build a palate at any age.
Yeah. What about pets? If somebody wants to bring Fido with them or things like that, do you allow pets?
As long as they're on a leash and on our patio, pets are great.
Food options. If somebody came in to do a tasting, they wanted maybe, if they weren't going to do necessarily the sommelier that you said paired with some things, but they wanted some small bites or some things like that. Do y'all provide anything like that, or can they bring their own food in?
Yeah, so we're working on building our menu, but at the moment we have a really nice charcuterie selection, a few different options that we have available every day. So it's really nice local meats and cheeses and salamis for things like that. I make it for dinner for myself sometimes. It's delicious.
So we've talked a little bit about the maximum group size of 6 for the sommelier tasting. What about do you have any other group sizes for big bus rolls into your parking lot or things like that? Do you have maximum group sizes you like to handle or work with?
But we do require a reservation so that we can, dedicate enough time. We really like to be an educational winery. So, teaching about wine, and wine, we think should be available to everyone. So, if you have questions, whether you're, a seasoned wine drinker or whether you're new to the industry and new to drinking wine, we want to talk to you about wine. We're excited about it. We're excited about our wines. So, we'll do larger groups, and we have specific times that we'll do larger groups so we can give you, our full and undivided attention. Usually at 11 or noon, we'll do larger groups, and we have a lot of fun. We drink some wine, enjoy ourselves.
The reservations that are required are just for those big groups, for just a handful of people coming in, you can just walk in.
Yeah, we recommend reservations on the weekends because weekends are our busy times. And we really want to make sure that we can give everybody, enough time, talk to everybody. So if you have, just 2 or 4 people, if you want to call like on your way here and say, hey, I'm coming, can we do a tasting? That's always nice, just to make sure that we can give you our attention.
Guaranteed that kind of personal touch there. busy, slow seasons? I know we talked about, you mentioned that just a little bit. Weekends are a little busier for you guys, and in the summers are a little more. Is there a best time to visit if somebody really wanted to come out and check things out?
Well, our busiest time is usually the fall. So September, October, November is usually the busiest time of year, right before the holidays. Everybody's sort of gearing up, getting all their wine for Thanksgiving, Christmas, all the good holiday season. But other than that, just throughout the year, we're open every day except for Tuesday, Wednesday. So just, if you want to come out and enjoy some good wine.
Okay, so let's say for whatever reason, somebody is not able to come here. Is there a way they can taste your wine? Do you do any kind of distribution? Can they buy it online on your website or things like that?
Since we're a boutique winery, we aren't in distribution. We make, small lot, single vineyard wines. But we do have our online store. So if someone wanted to buy a bottle to be shipped to their house, that's definitely an option.
And non-members can do that as well?
Yes. Perfect. Yeah. Depends on the wine. So, it's more limited.
So what are your plans for future growth? Do you have ideas for adding on or doing more things, or what does the future look like for you guys?
We are dedicated to being a boutique member-driven winery. So, we want to have that really, really high quality, limited production, single vineyard, the single vineyard wines that we make now. So we don't, we want to stay true to Solaro. So we're, expanding our vineyards so that we can be more sustainable, putting our vineyards on new rootstocks, so that we, don't deplete the aquifers. We don't have to use quite as much water, things like that. So we're always changing those types of things here at Solaro. But we want to stay true to who we are. So we want to make, great wines, great Texas wines from here on our estate.
Last question I have for you then is, in your opinion, what is the number one thing that you think sets Solaro apart from everywhere else that would really want to entice a listener to say, I've got to put that place on my list. I got to go check that place out?
So we are a true historic, sustainable vineyard, ranch, and winery all here at Solaro. So, we do have our cattle operation. We grow our grapes here. We make our wine here. And so we are all of that right here, not very far from Austin. So our proximity to Austin is really nice. And so we're able to do a little bit more here at Solaro.
So it was such a pleasure to visit Solaro, to meet Barbara and Robert, who were mingling around in the tasting room, and to sit down and talk to Erica and hear her passion about wine. They're definitely doing something right to have won so many awards for their winery over the past 5 to 6 years. Their wines were also delicious, and I really enjoyed tasting the Cheval 5 that Erica actually mentioned as a popular one in the interview. I enjoyed that one so much that I had to purchase a bottle of that for my wine library for this episode. But another fun thing that I had never actually tried was a dry version of a port-style wine. They make one here, and I was really intrigued by that, so I made sure to purchase one of those bottles as well. The tasting room was cozy and open with a very welcoming decor, and you could see signs of the working farm all around. As I said earlier, Robert and Barbara were both mixing around with the customers, helping make them feel at home, talk to them about their wines. I can definitely see why they've been consistently earning that title of Texas Hill Country Winery of the Year. I'm putting one of their fun events on my calendar, and I can't wait to return to experience one of their fantastic dinners. Their hospitality is amazing. When you decide to go make a visit, first check out their website. It's www.solaroestate.com. That's SOLAROESTATE.com. You're going to find info there about their winery, their family history, going all the way back to Italy, as we said, info about their events, info on their wine club. You can also make reservations for one of the sommelier tastings there and even purchase wine directly to be shipped to multiple states. Don't forget, when you go to see them, make sure you tell them you heard about them here on this podcast, Texas Under Vine. So this was a fun experience, and I look forward to returning to view the beautiful stars one evening at one of those member dinners with a glass of one of their fine, delicious wines in hand. But for now, I'm off to check out some more fun wine destinations and give you all of the details about them. So if you're enjoying the show, would you consider joining my efforts to share the great wine destination info with your friends? Tell them about this podcast and share the love with those other wine lovers that want more information about the great wine destinations we have here in Texas. If you feel it is worth a few dollars, please also consider becoming a Patreon subscriber for Texas Under Vine. You'll also get access to other behind-the-scenes bonus content that isn't available to regular subscribers. It only costs a few dollars a month and will go a long way towards helping me cover my costs in bringing this great info to you. You can find the link to my Patreon at the top of my website, texasundervine.com. Just click the link, become a patron at the top. And thanks as well to my current subscribers as you are helping me keep the fun going. Well, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast and follow my socials to be notified anytime the next episode is posted. Until next time, happy trails and bottoms up, y'all. Thanks for listening to Texas Under Vine. We strive to provide you with the best information about wine businesses all over Texas. Be sure to check out our website at texasundervine.com and follow us on our socials at texasundervine to stay up on all the upcoming episodes. Please email us with any suggestions or feedback. Also, contact us if you're interested in donating, sponsoring, or advertising on the podcast, just to help us cover our expenses and bring even more great info to you in future episodes. Above all, travel safely, and most especially, drink responsibly. Don't forget to also check out the Texas Wine Lover website and their phone app. If you want to plan a trip to the wine destination I talked about in this episode, the site for Texas Wine Lover and their phone app that you can download will really help you organize a trip so you can go see them. You can check out all of the goodness that I got to experience while I was there. But as you're planning your trip, while you're on their website or their app, you can also find out things like accommodations, restaurants, and even some fun events and things that are going on at the wineries, and maybe even find one that you want to experience as part of your wine trip that you never even expected. So check them out. Again, it's txwinelover.com.